Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Florida Boy. This is Flashaholics Anonymous. Let's get into it. Super quick intro, right? So today's video on Flashaholics Anonymous, we're going to be going over something that's pretty important to a lot of people, but it's something that a lot of people really don't think about. So we're going to be talking about batteries and charging situations on flashlights. So for this particular, subject is something that people will totally base buying a flashlight off of. It's one of those things where it's a convenience factor, and it's also something that can, obviously really affect battery life, and that's kind of a big thing too. You don't want to, normal use. So let's just talk about a normal person. Normal people, or maybe not normal, maybe that's not the right word, but a lot of people that carry flashlights probably won't use it every day. And that's kind of the thing, if you pull your flashlight out of your pocket and you need to use it, you probably don't want it to be dead. And that's kind of where we're going with this. So let's start off with batteries. So there's a ton. There's a lot. And if you are looking at choosing a flashlight for the first time, and that's kind of going to be, if you haven't watched any of the other segments, kind of the way we do this is we're starting off as a kind of like a newbie situation here. That we're starting off with the basics. We've already done branding, and then we're going to slowly start working our way into, the other stuff, the bigger things, things like LEDs and emitters, optics, lenses, stuff like that. And then modding, of course. So right now we're still in the baby phase. So let's talk batteries a little bit, and this probably won't be a long segment because you can only say so much about batteries, but it definitely is a subject that we need to talk about. So I have a few on the table right now, flashlights, not batteries, obviously. But this is a good place to start because these are some of the most used flashlights. Maybe not this Mech Army, the PS16, maybe not that one, but there's a reason why it's on the table. Same thing with the Imalent. There's a reason why it's on the table, and we're going to talk about it. So we'll start off with just basic. So here you have an i3T EOS. This is made by Olight. Everybody probably knows Olight fairly well. And when it comes to the i3Ts, these run on AAAs, which depending on who you ask, I'm not a fan of AAA lights. Just not. Let me grab. Here we go. Okay, so there are alternatives to AAAs. Alternatives, yes. So with, like, let's say this flashlight right here. So it takes a AAA, and this is actually one of the ones that it comes with. And, this is a non-rechargeable, kind of a junky alkaline battery, and they're terrible. Sometimes I get these flashlights with these batteries in them, and they don't even have, any kind of charge on them. They're just dead, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. It's just a battery. But you have something like this, which is a 10440, and as you can see, this is the same size as a AAA. The only thing that we're missing here is we don't have the, what do they call it? The button top? Yeah, it doesn't have the button on the top. So, this won't work with every single flashlight. And actually, you kind of got to be careful because lithium ions, they are going to have a little bit higher of a discharge rate, sometimes a lot higher. You just got to be careful. Do you see 320 milliamps, 3.7 volts? Before you put something like this in a flashlight, you really want to look and make sure that it's not going to burn your flashlight out. And most companies are going to say whether or not you can use something like that in the and the instructions on the website. It really depends. A flashlight like this, to be honest, I really just kind of throw them in there, and if it burns the light out, it burns the light out. I'm not a good example, but I'm one of those that, I'm gonna put I'm gonna put one of my nice batteries in there, and if it burns the light out, then I'm just gonna move on to a different light because that's just the way I am. So AAA's, I'm not a huge fan of, but a lot of people do like AAA lights because of the size. If you compare a AAA light to like something like this, which is an 18650, you can see we have a chunky boy and a skinny boy. And that's the appeal to these lights. They're very easy to carry. They fit in, pocket organizers, pockets, fifth pockets. You can kind of just stick them anywhere. So AAA lights, they are good for a lot of EDC scenarios. I am a maximalist, so AAA, not for me particularly, but, it's preference. It's all preference. So let's move on. This is a AA light, also from Olight. I grabbed this because it is similar in size to the AAA. Obviously, it's just a little bigger because it takes a AA. And these are kind of all over the place. So if we grab a AA, almost said AAA, grab a AA battery. Here's another, junky alkaline battery. But you have a lot of options when you start reaching AA's. So here is another lithium battery. This is a 14500, basically the equivalent of a AA. Just like I said, you gotta be a little careful, more output. If you're worried about burning out your flashlights. But so we start getting into kind of the weird zone once you start hitting AA's, because AA's come in a wide range of different types of batteries. And here's a couple from a couple different brands. And if you want to know what I'm pulling it out of, eventually when you start getting into the flashlight world, you're going to start getting into situations like this where you just have cases with batteries and battery adapters and just all kinds of stuff. So AA's, when we're looking at AA's, you have your alkalines, you have a bunch of different types, but these are ones that come with flashlights, these three here. And these, I end up with a lot of these because they are included in a lot of flashlights. So with batteries like these, you're going to recharge these on a standard charger. Is this one unplugged? It is. So here's something like what you would charge one of these unprotected cells on. And these work really good. Really realistically, they're a dime a dozen. Amazon, eBay, probably even like Walmart. These 9 times out of 10, you can walk into any vape store, like vaping, and they're going to carry these too. Just be a little careful, be a little mindful of don't just buy the cheapest one. These things can be a crazy fire hazard. Just be careful. It's kind of like anything else. You can buy the very bottom of the barrel or just kind of get in the middle range. You don't have to go all the way up. But you have a couple different types whenever you're looking at batteries in AA's. And here you go. You have, like I said, protected cells. This has a USB-C outlet on it. This does have a little LED on it where it will tell you, kind of what the battery is at whenever you're charging it. So AA lights, you're moving up into longer battery life, generally a little bit higher output. Definitely, I'm more of a fan of AA lights. That one on the table, that's a UV variant for the i5. Oh no, don't fall over. So, that one's not necessarily a flashlight. So let's talk about this real fast, just because we could also probably do this, but this is the Arcfeld, which is a super popular light, and it's mainly because of the form factor. It's very flat, square. It's got a pretty ultra deep carry pocket clip. But in terms of battery, this is a non-replaceable battery, and whenever you are charging this, it comes with a magnetic cable. You can use the Olight Omino, and you can charge it like that. There's a lot of cool options whenever you start getting into you know, a little bit bigger flashlights like this, especially from Olight. The only thing you got to watch out for stuff like this is that it's proprietary chargers, which brings me to the LD70 from Imalent. This is also, if you can see right here, this is also a proprietary magnetic charger. So, you know, if you lose, break, destroy your charger, if it shorts out, it's not a let's go to the grocery store, let's go to Walmart and pick up a new charger. It's let me get online, let me see if I can order one and wait for it. So that kind of sucks. That's a big downfall to a light like that. And you know, in normally a light like this, if you're here because you're a flashaholic, you probably have at least a dozen magnetic chargers from Olight, and I fall into that category. So if one of them went bad on me, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I have plenty to replace it. But that's another battery situation. This is a non-replaceable battery with a proprietary magnetic charger. Some proprietary chargers may not be magnetic, but the majority of them that I've seen are magnetic. It's just, you know, nature of the beast. Non-removable batteries, unless it's a tiny flashlight like a Rovivon, I don't see why these are non-removable. And you know, some people are going to get in the comments, they're going to argue that you can take, you take this bag of this apart, take this apart, all it's going to take is a soldering iron. We're talking for normal, let's say you have no soldering skills and you do not want to take your flashlight apart. That's kind of the subject of this topic. Okay, so next battery, sliding on out of here. Let's talk about this mech army. So you have some weird little batteries like this guy here. This is a 16340, 650 milliamps. He slides right inside of this guy. This is a great carry size for a flashlight. Like if we look at the difference in size here, it's very ergonomic, very easy to carry. But you start getting some weird sized batteries. I do like these little chunky boys because they do have a great battery life. They have a good output, so you can get, you know, I think this flashlight was around like 2,000 lumens. You know, in the small size, like here it is next to an i5T, and there you go. So, you know, batteries, it's such a weird conversation because, you know, I'm definitely not like the authority on batteries by any means. Like I am definitely a collector, an enthusiast, a user, a flashaholic. Like I am 100% there. But you start getting into batteries like these, where I think this might be the only flashlight I have that has a battery like this. And this is not a typical battery you're going to go into a store and find. So I do like the size, the 16340s, great battery life. It is a protected cell. This one in particular uses micro USB. If you're gonna buy a protected cell and it's gonna have an outlet on it or an input on it so that you can plug it in to charge it, just make sure it's USB-C. Don't do micro. Micro is just terrible and it charges really, really slow. Slow charging a battery is better for the health of a battery, generally speaking. Generally speaking, not it. Now, you know, some batteries are okay either way, but generally speaking, slow charge is better. But, you know, something like this thing takes forever and a half to charge. So not a huge fan of the micro, but is what it is. So we talked about the LD70. Now, this is the 18650. And if I grab right here you go. So here is an 18650 battery. And you know, if I'm being 100% honest, 18650s, and here you go. 18650s and 21700s are my favorite batteries to carry. Now, you know, you see I have this little adapter here that looks kind of like a battery, even though it's not. Something like this is actually so that you can run 18650s inside flashlights that take 21700s. And I think these are the best possible batteries to buy for a flashlight, or at least to use on flashlights. They're pretty typical for, vapes. Like if we look at this vape here, and I pop the back off of this, we have 18650s in here. I think they're just the best. Like I think they have the best output. I think they have the best battery life. You can find them like literally everywhere. You can go to a vape store and you can go pick them up for like $6 a piece, generally a piece. They come in a bunch of different wide varieties. You can get them in high outputs. You can get them in high capacity. I mean, there's so many different things. Like here's a Workhorse 18650. This is a 3000 milliamp. These are Samsungs. These are 2500 milliamps. I mean, you can really just kind of play around with the 18650s, and Olight does use 18650, and we're gonna put a little box on the table here. So Olight, and this is a problem with Olight, and I'm sorry that this is just a gigantic box I'm going to put on the screen, but here's the problem with Olight, here's 21700s from Olight. You got this weird plug on the top, and then here's some 18650s from Olight. There's your weird plug on the top again. So Olight uses these batteries in their flashlights, but they're all proprietary. They're all different. Like they're not. Hold on, this has to come this way. It's not like if I put one of those in one of my Olights, like one of my normal 18650s in an Olight, it's not going to work. It's not going to do anything. You see how this doesn't have the plug on top? And I just think it's a little ridiculous. Like I wish they would just go to standard batteries. But that's just a gripe. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. we're not going there. So this, like I said, this is an 18650. This is one of my favorite flashlights of all time, and I carry this more often than not. Honestly, this gets a lot of pocket time, and 18650s. I can carry. I can throw one of these little boxes in my bag, or I can just carry this in my bag, and I have a ton of extra batteries, and they have amazing battery life. And like something like this, we get excellent output. Oh, hold on, my dog's freaking out. Hold on, pause. All right. Sorry about that. If anybody who's been, oh, geez, all right, my chair went down. Anybody who's been watching the videos or keeping up with the channel, they know I have a dog that is recovering from somehow a spine injury, and I heard her crying, so I had to go make sure she was okay. Everything's okay. Which she's doing better, by the way. They still have her on muscle relaxer. They still have her on a painkiller, and she gets her last steroid dose today. So she's doing good. We're still hopeful. So another reason why my posts, there's been a few days I haven't posted anything other than like shorts. It's been a busy couple weeks. Okay, but back to the subject. Yes, 18650s, definitely, some of my favorite batteries, like, of all time. 21700, same way. Something like this I just put on the table just because this, I don't have batteries. So, you get into some pin lights that take multiple AA's, multiple AAA's. This takes 2 AAA's. That's another one of those things where I'm not a fan, but these are very, very useful for a lot of people, especially, technicians, whether it's automotive, mechanics, people, HVAC. These are really good because you can stick these into crevices or you can stick them in tight places, and you're able to, kind of see a little bit better. Get it in positions where a chunky boy like this isn't going to work. You have flashlights like this dark beam that has an exterior charging port on it, like on the flashlight itself. I'm not a huge fan of these at all, and this has an exposed port with no cover. So this is literally an inside flashlight. Like I don't take this out at all because it rains on me or it gets wet and it's done. And I'm not. It was relatively inexpensive, but I'm not one to just throw a flashlight away. Um, so next we have something like this guy, which is a big body AA. He's a big boy, and yeah, these are going to be a little bit better than the smaller AA's. I'll probably never get this thing back together. I probably won't even fuss with it right now. Oh, there it goes. So yeah, here's like a big body AA. My buddy Z Wolfgang sent me this one with a trade that we did, and I'm a huge fan of this. I actually use this whenever you see me shining a light on something while I'm recording. I'm actually using this to do it because it's just a really nice little beam, just one click on, one click off. I don't really have any other, like, I could go over a lot of batteries. I could go over a ton of different things with this. But I just wanted to talk about the most common, like in general, what are we looking for? What are we using them for? If you are wanting something small just to keep in your pocket and you're going to use it every now and then, I still think rechargeable. If you go something rechargeable, it seems to do better for me. And then we can start talking about other things. Like you have flashlights like my Workhos, what is it, the TS16 or something, I think. It's got like a blue LED around the optics, around the lens. And whenever you start having stuff like that has LED panels or LCDs, that's when you start getting into the parasitic drain category. And that parasitic drain is where your flashlight is slowly discharging battery without being used, and that's kind of a problem. So that's, like I said, that's why I prefer rechargeable batteries. And I recommend rechargeable batteries. Anytime someone asks me, hey, what kind of flashlight should I get? Or, hey, what should I buy? What should I'm 100% going to recommend something that has a rechargeable battery. I mean, even like the i5Ts, you see me put i5Ts on the channel and I buy i5Ts. I put a rechargeable battery in it. Normally it's an i5R battery that I put in mine. Sometimes I'll mess around and try other batteries, but like this guy right here, if I can get it out. Like, see, just to show you right here, here's an i5 UV, and the i5 UV does run off of a standard AA battery, and I'll pop one of those in there, and then there we go. Now it's rechargeable. So I think batteries. I think a battery is such an overlooked thing sometimes, especially if you're newer to the community. Do a little bit of research. Kind of figure out the size of the flashlight that you're looking for, and then once you kind of have some features nailed down, that's the big thing, is nail down some features, but really put some thought into the battery situation. Pick something where the batteries are readily available. Don't get something that takes like freaking watch batteries or hearing aid batteries, or you could always go non-replaceable. You don't have to have replaceable batteries. I prefer replaceable batteries because I do carry a backup battery to my flashlight in my EDC bag. If it ever dies on me, then I know. One more thing about the battery situation. Something else that's good about flashlights, and I almost forgot to talk about this. Something that you might be interested in, and it's definitely something that I look for, is like, say in the case of Anduril, I'm going to put this in lockout mode before I forget and it burns a hole in my pocket. In the case of Anduril, there's a mode, you hit the button. If you don't know anything about Anduril, well, we're gonna talk about operating systems. Don't you fret. Not in this video though. But with Anduril, one of the functions of this flashlight is that it will give me blinks to tell me my battery percentage or my battery life. Something in the case of the Arcfeld, we do have a battery indicator here, right? Chaw. I did not mean to turn that on. In something like this guy here, if I click 3 times, that tells me my battery voltage, and that will go down the more I use it. So like if I put this guy on blast, 4,000 lumens. This is such a cool flashlight. Sorry. So this is such a cool flashlight. 4,000 lumens out of this tiny little thing. Imalent makes such cool flashlights. It looks kind of crazy, doesn't it? It's not actually flashing. It's just because of the camera. So now if I check the battery life, see, we've gone down from 3.74. So yeah, I think it's important to know your battery life. If you can find a flashlight that you like that has a battery indicator on it that can tell you what your battery percentage, or at least give you a general idea of voltage or blinks, or an actual physical indicator itself, that helps a lot with the battery situation, and you can kind of focus less on having to worry about, oh, I'm going to pull my flashlight out and the battery's going to be dead. So that is a huge, huge feature. If you're not too worried about what kind of battery it takes, try to find a flashlight that's going to tell you what your battery percentage is at when you're using it or carrying it. Because, like I said, it's not a knife. With a knife, you don't have a battery. Oh man, there. You don't have a battery on this, so you can just pull it out and use it whatever you want. Flashlights, a little different. A little bit of, I'm not going to say maintenance per se, but a little bit of upkeep on the battery. So, like I said, we're not going to make this one too terribly long. I'm definitely by no means a battery expert, so you can get on here and correct me and all that. That's fine. That's fine. But I feel like whenever you're first talking about batteries, especially to someone new to flashlights, keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Pick what you like. Pick a good battery. Make sure you can see your battery percentage, especially if you're not going to run lithium. If you went into this video knowing that you do not want to worry about rechargeable batteries, get something that tells you what your battery's at. You know what I'm saying? I know. There's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. So I think we're gonna kind of wrap this one up. I don't want to. I kind of already went longer than I thought I was gonna go to, because I can rant all day about batteries. I have a million of them. I have them everywhere. It's kind of terrible. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. This was just a quickie on batteries for Flashaholics. So thank you guys so much for stopping by, checking out the video. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. I post all the time. I try to do daily. I've been kind of weird lately. Just the dog stuff and a lot of stuff. We'll talk about it. All right, y'all. Thanks again. I'll see you on the next one.